And here's why I say that. I say that because I want you all to do a couple things. I think number one is my goal and my prayer for every single one of you is to find your zone of genius. Now, if you're like, I don't have one, well, then that means you haven't spent enough time in mastery to actually do the system of mastery on anything. And so I need to figure out like what you can actually do that with. Because once you have become masterful in something, what is hard for other people becomes really easy for you. And that's what I want you to do more of. I want you to find a group of people that you can serve in a way that it's like second nature to you, right? In a way that you don't even have to think about it. You could do it off the top of your head, right? And so that really is operating within your zone of genius. And I hope this lands with you guys. I hope you all understand how powerful it is to be able to find that. And so that's kind of how I left it with my student. I'm like, what you're trying to do, you're not very good at right now.
This is Secrets for Success.
Welcome to the Secrets for Success podcast. I'm your host, Greg Todd. Thank you, as always, for joining me, my friends. I appreciate you. I appreciate your attention. Today, I want to talk about operating within your zone of genius. You know, one thing that, and I'm bringing this up because I just had a group coaching call, and one of my clients was saying, Greg, you know, I know you have these kind of standards for us with regards to this, that, da, 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 da. And I know that like that's impossible to reach, right? And so, but I mean, I understand why you say it, but I know it's like totally impossible to reach. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's like, no, it's not. And so I shared something with her and with the group that I think is extremely important for you all to understand. And that is the power of mastery and the power of operating within your zone of genius. You know, when I think of when I started my clinics, uh, in 2006, I started this Wesley Chapel location. And I'm thinking of like how I got clients back then and what I had to do to get in front of providers, other businesses, community groups. I had to get into my red Ford Expedition and drive from place to place to place to place. Most of the time, the business owners or the decision makers weren't available. And if I could hit 10, 12, maybe even 15 places in a day, I had worked from like 9 o'clock to 6, 7 until places just shut down. And I was exhausted, right? And so I say that because today, in order for me to get in front of not 12 or 13 or 15 people, but to get in front of thousands of people today is so much easier. And I really believe it's because I'm operating currently within my zone of genius. And I believe my zone of genius is the area that I have achieved a certain level of mastery. Now, I know that there's different levels of mastery, like in karate, you know, there's brown belt and black belt and then different levels of black belt. And I'm not trying to act like I know all that stuff. But what I can say is that when you achieve mastery in something, it becomes easy and you are operating within your zone of genius. And so here's what I had challenged my client today. I was like, you know, I want to challenge you that the things that I'm asking you to do might be hard today. Yes, okay, maybe it's hard for you today, but it doesn't have to be hard anymore. Like, it doesn't have to be hard in the future. Dang it, I don't like that. Here, let's start over again. Brittany, I'm starting over. All right, take 3. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Secrets for Success podcast. I'm your host, Greg Todd. Thank you, as always, for joining me. I want to talk to you guys about mastery and operating within your zone of genius because I truly believe that, like over the past week, I have been like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm in flow and I've been operating within my zone of genius. And I really want every single one of you to find what that zone of genius is for you eventually. Now, it takes time, but eventually you kind of figure out, okay, this is the best way for me to not only serve people, uh, but for people to get lots of value from me and for it to feel easy. And I think this is so important because I think so many of us, I shouldn't say we, maybe you don't feel this way, but I feel like I used to feel this way. And I think a lot of people feel this, is that they're almost afraid to have more impact. They're afraid to make more money because right now, everything they do is like really, really hard to do. In order for them to make money, they got to see like a lot of patients. And so, in order for them to even fathom or consider making more money, they're like, geez, I'm going to have to see 25% more patients because this is the only way that I know how to do this. Right. Or I'm going to have to double the amount of, volume that I'm seeing if I want to double my, you know, outgoing pay because this is the only way I know how to do it. But what I want to challenge you guys is today to think about, how can I operate within my zone of genius? Do I even know what my zone of genius is? Because here's what I can tell you. When you're operating within your zone of genius, you're able to do something, you're able to do an input that gives you a certain output. You're able to do less of that input and you get a greater output. But that also means that you're operating within a zone of genius because even though minimum input in the past might have given you minimum output, today minimum input gives you maximum output. And that's what I really have felt over the last 7 days. So I want to share with you guys what that has looked like. Okay, so I have been a consultant since 2009. Okay. I primarily helped private practices between 2009 and 2015. And most of them I helped with their organic Google, um, uh, attention. And I was able to help them with that because I was doing that for my clinic. So people initially came to me for that. And then they realized that, hey, this guy kind of knows how to run a business. And so I probably had like no more than 5 to 8 private practice clients at any given time, right? Then I became uh, a wait, what do you want to call it? It's like one of those blogging reviewers for advanced PT, and then I basically was able to get all these clients as a consultant, EMR companies, different medical companies, fitness companies, et cetera, et cetera. So I think at one point I had like 15, I think it was like 15, 16 or something like that, 15 or 16 companies that were paying me money as a consultant. Anyways, that's how I started. And then in 2016 is when SSPT, uh, took off, right? And over that time, I've been able to do a couple things, right? I coach people via coaching calls. I do individual calls with people. I do group coaching calls with people. I do live events. I do retreats. Um, I, have a book. I have different courses. Like I have a whole bunch of different things that I've done, right? Memberships. I've pretty much done it all, right? Very Jamaican of me. Anyways, so what I realize is that there's certain things that feel pretty hard for me to do, but I do it. But then there's certain times where I'm like, wow, this is really easy. Like this is really easy for me and it gives people maximum impact. And so anyways, I'm doing this podcast because I really want you, like, I just want to question you. Like, are you operating within your zone of genius? Like what? So here's what mine is. I believe my zone of genius is what I have been doing for the last 6, 7 days. So over the last 6, 7 days, I've had 2 waves of clients come in. My inner circle group, which is a small group, and what I do is I basically strategize with them. I give each of them time with me. I have them review what their last 3 months have looked like. And I have them tell me what their big problems are, their challenges, the things that are keeping them up at night. I have them tell me what they're anxious about. I have them um, start to question what things they feel like they need questions and answers to in order for them to take the next step in their business. And so that's what I do first. And when I'm doing that, I'm in my zone of genius because I'm a people person. I can feel someone's energy. I can look at their face, especially when I'm doing it live. I can figure out, okay, this is what this person needs. Like I can feed off their mannerisms, their body, their body language, just everything. And I feel like I'm able to do some magical stuff during that time. Now, today, it's not enough for me to operate within my zone of genius. I have to get my team to be able to operate within their zone of genius, right? So when I think of like Brittany, right? I think what she does extremely well. She was an event planner, prior to working with me, and she started working with me full-time in 2019. So she's really, really good at creating like retreats and events. So I suck at that stuff. Like I'm terrible at that. But when she's doing those types of things, she's operating within her zone of genius. Okay. Andrew is really, really good at creating systems and creating processes. So I love to freestyle. I love to figure out what's going on with people, this, that, da, da, da. But what we're doing for our clients now is we're able to basically give them what everything they're struggling with. We give them our system. We give them our process of how they can do that thing. And he's able to like create that really, really, really fast. Okay. That's his zone of genius, right? There's other things he doesn't do too well. There's things I don't do so well. There's things that Brittany doesn't do so well. But those things are when we are operating within our zone of genius. So what we were able to do over the last week is we were able to all operate within our zone of genius. And for 3 days, we're able to work with our clients in this very systematic flow where I'm doing what I do best, Brittany's doing what she does best, AT is doing what he does best, and together the clients are getting this really, really, really amazing experience. And I got to be honest with you, like it's 3 days. It's 3 days, and we do it a couple times a year. And what people used to pay us for a year, where I would have to coach people week after week after week after week, they're like, we get more value by doing it in this way with you versus you just coaching and coaching and coaching and coaching us like how I used to do in the past. And I realized that what used to take me a year to do, I'm now basically doing this in 3-day sprints, and I'm operating within my zone of genius. And I truly believe this. And the reason why I'm doing this podcast is because earlier today I had a conversation with a client that said that, hey, and basically it was a group coaching call. She's like, hey, I know the numbers that you have for us or what we should be doing in our business, kind of the KPIs. I know that's not doable. I know you put, I was like, whoa, 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 pump the brakes on that, homie, or homegirl, I should say. And I was like, no, 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 it's totally doable. It's totally doable. I was like, right now, you're not operating within your zone of genius because you haven't achieved mastery in that area. And when you achieve mastery in something, it actually becomes quite easy over time. And I was thinking about like this past week. Like this past week was like really easy. You would think working with clients for 7 days in a row, like starting from 9-ish in the morning to sometimes 6, 7 at night, you would think that I'd be exhausted after 7 days of that. But I really am not because I'm operating within my zone of genius. I'm operating in my flow. I'm operating at the thing that I do the best at. And here's why I say that. I say that because I want you all to do a couple things. I think number one is my goal and my prayer for every single one of you is to find your zone of genius. Now, if you're like, I don't have one, well, then that means you haven't spent enough time in mastery to actually do the system of mastery on anything. And so I need to figure out like what you can actually do that with. Because once you have become masterful in something, what is hard for other people becomes really easy for you. And that's what I want you to do more of. I want you to find a group of people that you can serve in a way that it's like second nature to you, right? In a way that you don't have to think about it. You could do it off the top of your head, right? And so that really is operating within your zone of genius. And I hope this lands with you guys. I hope you all understand how powerful it is to be able to find that. And so that's kind of how I left it with my student. I'm like, what you're trying to do, you're not very good at right now. And it's going to take you time to become good at this thing. But once you become good at it, what I'm asking you to do, you're thinking this is hard to do in a week. I was like, I can do that in minutes. I have clients that could do that in like seconds. It's not very difficult to do once you become really good at it. So we must try to find that. And I think if everybody finds that, the reason why I think it's so important is because then I truly believe, at least my opinion, I believe that that's God's gift to us. That's the thing that he is not necessarily only called us to do, but it's one of the things that he's given to us. That's our proclivity, thing that we're really, really good at. Now, it takes work to get good at those things, but That's my goal for every single one of you. So anyways, I hope this episode lands with you. I hope it resonates with you, and we'll see you on the next one. Till next time.